Hello, hello, hello. Konnichiwa-san, it's Gray from Wakizashi's Teahouse over in Japan. How are you doing? You good? Are you genki? I suddenly feel really small on this chair. I think it's sunk down a bit. Don't know what's going on there. So this is makes a change from my usual or my recent live streams where I talk about comics and comic book news. If you're after comics, I've just dropped a review this morning. I dropped a review of Batman Year 1 Issue 4. Very positive review. If you're looking for some positivity, do check it out. But yeah, today I do want to talk about David Lynch. Very sad to hear of him passing away on Thursday, I think it was, on the 16th. So I've talked about Lynch before, and saying that to let's plug Gray's channel, because hey, someone's got to. Did do a review of Wild at Heart, Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, one of my favourites of Lynch's. So did do a review of that. It's on my channel somewhere. If you look at the older videos in the live section, there was me and two friends talked about it. It was really good talk. So yeah, so that's that. And what I'll do is I'm going to put timestamps for people who come on later to watch this. If you watch it after the fact, so you can skip like things that I'm going to be playing. I want to play my old moving picture house intro, which I used to do for every movie review stream, and just something about it. I really like that the music of this. It doesn't have any David Lynch movie clips, unfortunately, because I've been too lazy to make a new one, but this is the classic. This is the original. Before I do that, just shout out, we got Dwayne Muth in the chat. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Are you genki? That's what I want to know. Just making a quick cup of tea. I just made it in time. A nice cup of Earl Grey. Come on, it has to be Earl Grey. It was my birthday last Tuesday, and a teacher friend got me a pack of organic Clipper Earl Grey tea. Fantastic. So, okay, so I'll drop timestamps for the fact, but let me play this for you. This has been a while since I've done this. This was the old Gray's Moving Picture House intro, and it's got some clips of some of my favourite movies and TV series. Here we go. Nice music as well. Well, I think so. Are you ready to rave? Oh yeah, man, that takes me back. The good old days. Used to do a moving picture house, like a review stream with a few friends weekly at this time actually. So yeah, Heavy Metal 1980. What a great animated movie. The original one, yeah, Dwayne, you know what you're talking about. So any clips you like there? Any films that you like? I'm sure there was a few. Excalibur, one of my favourite King Arthur stories, probably the best one in my opinion. Of course, The Matrix, massive effect on me, that's there. Jaws, some great moments. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was in there. Dream Warriors. Time for a bit of metal. No singing from me. But yeah, anyway, back to the main point of this stream. So, David Lynch, born January the 20th, close to me, no way. I'm the 14th, by the way. Jan 20th, 1946. Passed away, it says here, Jan 15th, 2025. An American filmmaker, visual artist, musician, and an actor. Oh yes. Known for his surrealist films, he developed his own unique cinematic style, which has been dubbed Lynchian. Imagine that, getting your name used as an adjective, in the English dictionary. Fantastic. His movies are often characterized by dream imagery, meticulous sound design, sometimes completely crazy sound design. In many cases, there are violent elements to his films. I would also say very sexual elements to the films. They have earned a reputation that they disturb, offend, or mystify their audiences. Tell you what, man. Yeah, so this stream's going to be a bit of a, stream of consciousness as usual from me, Wakizashi Waffle. But I want to be going through some of my favourite movies by Lynch, talk about those, how I got into it, and yeah, just a basic shout out to him. Now, I want to make this clear at this point, I don't know much about the man himself. I've not read any biographies, so I don't know what kind of person he was in real life. I just kind of avoid all that and focus on, the artist and his art. So let's have a look. Thanks, Dwayne. Lots of great clips. Yeah, some lovely ones in there. Really good. If I'd been more organised and I wasn't doing a recording with Jim earlier, excuses, and making a review, all this morning, by the way, I would have actually maybe put some clips together for Lynch, but let's see, let's share something here. How do we do this again? Share my screen. I want to show you. So, here we go. Here's just a selection of some of his more famous movies, maybe more popular movies, arguably. Any of your favourites in here? Just want to shout out some of them. His first one, his most famous, well, not most famous, but most surreal maybe, is Eraserhead. Fantastic movie. Very, very bizarre, but you have to be in the right mood to watch it, in my opinion. The Elephant Man is there. That's one of the first ones I saw on TV. It was a recommendation from my brother. And it's not listed here, but Dune. I actually went to the cinema back in England when that came out. Now, I didn't know much about the book back then. I didn't know much about the director. It was my first proper experience of David Lynch at the movie theatre. And I know there's a lot of controversy about Dune. He took his name off it because it was recut without his permission. So he took his name off it. Man, wouldn't you love to see his original cut? Anyway, we can dream. Speaking on that, there is a very good fan cut version on YouTube. I can't remember the name. It's Spice something mix, but yeah, that's worth checking out. But anyway, Dune, that was there. Blue Velvet, wow, that's one that is up there with me. Really, really impressed me at an impressionable age when I was trying to get into being an art student. Look how that turned out. Then later on, Wild at Heart probably could be one of my favourites. Maybe, yeah, close to being the favourite. Seen that so many times. What else have we got here? We've got Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive listed, Inland Empire, the rather bizarre Straight Story, which is a rather straight movie for him, a rather normal movie. Yeah. Dwayne's shouting out Eraserhead and Twin Peaks. Fire Walk with Me and Twin Peaks the series, first of all. Mamma mia. I was there when it was coming out. Back in the summer of love, the second summer of love in Manchester, I remember. I think it was 90, was it? 90s or early 90s? It could be 92, 93, something like that. Fantastic series, especially season 1. So yeah. And the movie Fire Walk With Me, I think that is just incredible. Absolutely incredible film. Very strange, experimental at times, disturbing, sexual, sexy. Okay. Anyway, let's have a look. Got things lined up. Just let's have some background image of Lynch. Look at him here when he was younger. It's quite a good nice photo, isn't it? And some of the clips from some of his movies, and surrounded by beautiful women. Didn't he? He always cast, you would say, knockout lookers in his movies, and really good actresses as well. So, yeah, let's have a look. Going through the filmography, this is off Wikipedia, so this is just in order. Actual feature films. So we had Eraserhead in 1977, then The Elephant Man, 1980. They were both black and white, by the way. Dune came out in 84 after I think he'd already he'd refused Return of the Jedi, famously. And George Lucas had a meeting with him and he was trying to convince him to do it, but apparently this is what I've heard or seen in interviews. He said George showed him some either pictures or some models of Wookiees. He didn't mention Ewoks, Wookiees at the time, and Lynch was like, maybe not. And supposedly his agent was really angry with him. He's like, what are you doing? You're throwing away a chance to make millions. But he turned it down. Respect. Brought out Dune. It was butchered, unfortunately, cut beyond his own recognition. So he took his name off it. Then we had Blue Velvet, 1986. Very, very Lynchian movie. Really, as I say, it freaked me out when I first saw it because I was quite young. But, it was almost like a horror thriller, suspense movie. But the more I watched it, the more I appreciated so much in there. The visuals, the sound, especially the look, the way the shots he took. So cool. And good acting as well. Dennis Hopper. What was he like in that, Dennis Hopper? Breathing the gas. My God. Wild at Heart came out in 1990 after Blue Velvet. So it's like 4 years between. This is interesting. 4 years between The Elephant Man and Dune and Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart. Then he was working on the TV series Twin Peaks, and he brought out Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me in 92, so only 2 years after Wild at Heart. Took a break for 5 years before Lost Highway came out. I always got mixed up. I always thought like Mulholland Drive was before that, but there you go. Lost Highway, 97. 1999, The Straight Story, his most, conventional movie, but still quite bizarre in a Lynchian way. Mulholland Drive, brilliant film, 2001. And then Inland Empire was 2006. So they were his feature films. So no major, proper feature film since 2006. But, he's done bits and bobs. I've seen things on Netflix. What was it? What Did Jack Do? A bizarre short film on Netflix with Lynch and a monkey, isn't it? Do you remember that? Did you see that? So, yeah. Okay, let's get back to the studio. See if anybody's here. How are we doing? Hello, good to see you. We have Kevin Sonny from Savannah. I love Wild at Heart because it makes me happy and excited. I will continue to watch it because I want to continue making myself happy. Absolutely love that movie. Kevin, yeah, one of my favourites. One that really, really got me into Lynch. And we've got Sir John Hammond. Fantastic. Is it really you, sir? Imagine what a tragedy it would have been if he'd succeeded with Star Wars and we lost the films that we did get. He was destined for his career. It was so unique, irreplaceable. Yeah, talk about, fantastic career move, as it turns out, to turn down George Lucas to say no to Return of the Jedi. I mean, who knows? It might have been just, one and done, or it could have led to a whole new career path for him, couldn't it? Yeah, that's a great comment. Great comments there. We got Dwayne chiming in with Walter Simonson, Fantastic Four, Simonson, never know how to pronounce that. Johnny Storm, Human Torch, mentions to Mr. Fantastic about wanting to go to Twin Peaks. No way. Oh, man. I tell you, that series, I mean, I have it now on Blu-ray. Love it. Absolutely love it. At the time, I think I was like 17 or 18 when it was coming out, because I am old, as you can tell. So for me, it was unlike anything I'd seen on TV before. Twin Peaks, it started out as supposedly just a soap opera, family drama with a hint of mystery, but it completely changed the way that those programs were made. It showed the darker side behind regular, day-to-day, what seems everyday life, really exploring the dark side with a bit of, not magic so much as occult or, supernatural elements to it, and then bringing in the horror. But again, at the end of the day, basically, it was a story of sexual abuse. So, my God, to be bringing that into like a mainstream, supposedly, I guess it was considered, was it family friendly? No, not when they started making it. Drama. I don't think it was on too late at night, was it? I don't know about the States. In the UK, I mean, I can't remember the top of my head. As far as I know, it wasn't broadcast late night, but yeah, it'd be interesting. Hey, Armando Llewellyn, great name, love your picture there. I love The Straight Story because there wasn't anything about the supernatural about it. Yeah, just a great low budget, very touching human drama. Sissy Spacek, man, I've forgotten she was in that. Richard Farnsworth was brilliant, wasn't he? Is the name? Yeah, the guy riding the tractor. Awesome combo. I tell you, it's been years since I've seen that, and years since I've seen a lot of Lynch's movies, but It's strange, isn't it, how the passing of people we follow, we respect, artists or singers, performers, the passing kind of brings them back up into our imagination, and we want to rewatch those movies. Looking up documentaries, I mean, there are loads on YouTube, much better than what I can manage, but just seeing the things that he did, interviews with him are so funny. I had a friend who he was sharing an interview. What was it? Oh my God. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but there's one where he plays, is it the director John Ford? Lynch played John Ford in, I haven't seen the movie, is it Meet the Fabelmans, Spielberg movie? Great clip of him being John Ford. So yeah, he was such a bizarre but brilliant and gifted guy. Not just a director, an artist, musician, but some would say maybe not a great actor, but a very memorable, unique actor. Great comment. Okay, let's have a look. What's next? Eraserhead. Wow. As I say, you've got to be in the right mood, I think, to watch this. It really is completely bizarre and unique. What do you think? It's not the kind of movie you put on, on an afternoon or, in the morning to make you feel good, do you? Let's see what they're saying about it. It's a 1977 independent, surrealist body horror film. Imagine that, starting your movie career pretty much with that. Directed, produced and edited and written by Lynch. He also created its score and sound design, which included pieces by a variety of other musicians. Shot in black and white, it was Lynch's first feature-length effort, following several short films. Starring, a Lynch regular, right? Jack Nance. Also Charlotte Stewart, Jean Bates, Judith Anna Roberts, don't know them, Laurel Neer and Jack Fisk. It tells the story of a man who is left to care for his grossly deformed child in a desolate industrial landscape. Absolutely, unforgettable movie. Some interesting numbers here. I mean, this is according to Wiki, so you can take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but it said it had a budget projected to be around $100,000 and it made $7.1 million back then. Really? I wonder if that includes all the re-releases and things. Probably does, doesn't it? Very cool. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's cool. Eraserhead. Any fans of Eraserhead out there in the chat? Is it something you watch regularly, or is it like a once every few years kind of movie? He was absolutely great as Gordon Cole. I think it's one of his best roles. Yeah, the always shouting. Always shouting, always smoking. Yay, John, how you doing? John N saying, thank you so much for organising this live stream. I'm lost for words. It was, and it is, it's a tremendous loss. David Lynch will be greatly missed. Thank you for this tribute live stream. Love it. You're welcome. I really appreciate you dropping a comment. Thank you. As I say, I'm sure there are far, far bigger channels who are doing, this kind of thing and some nice retrospectives on his work, but I just wanted to do a straight from the heart kind of, as I say, I call them Wakizashi Waffles. It's my nickname, Wakizashi Grey. So, yeah, this is going to be all over the place. Stream of consciousness. Lynchian. Maybe not that crazy. Eraserhead was his first film, says Sir John Hammond. It was the first film I was the most hesitant to watch for some reason. Mate, I was the same with that. It took me years to actually watch that. As I say, the first movie I saw by Lynch was Dune at the cinema, and then I watched The Elephant Man on TV because it was recommended by my brother. I had to try a few times to watch Eraserhead. Me too. You have to be in the right frame of mind. Absolutely. It is, it's experimental. It's like a student kind of art film, isn't it? Something you do for your arts degree or your film degree. But yeah, Jack Nance. I would say Jack Vance then, the sci-fi author, fantasy author. Jack Nance in it is completely unforgettable, and as he goes on to be in a lot of Lynch's movies. Okay, so Eraserhead. As you say, you have to be in the right frame of mind to watch it. Let's move on. I'm just going to go through them and just give a little bit of my thoughts on the ones I've seen. Don't know that much about his movies. As I say, I'm no expert. But next we had The Elephant Man, 1980 biographical drama film loosely based on the life of Joseph Merrick, referred to as John in the film. So John Merrick. a severely deformed man who lived in London in the late 19th century. The film was directed by David Lynch, produced by Jonathan Sanger, and, this is interesting, listen to this, executive produced by Mel Brooks, who was uncredited to avoid audiences anticipating the film being in the vein of his comedic works. Although his company, Brooks Films, is in the opening credits. Well, as I say, it's been years, so I completely missed that. It stars John Hurt, great performance by him, and man, I wonder what that makeup was like, having to, perform with that makeup on, and how long it took to put on. John Hurt, Anthony Hopkins, Anne Bancroft, John Gielgud, Wendy Hiller, Michael Elphick, wow, with Neil and I, Hannah Gordon and Freddie Jones. Oh man, Freddie Jones. He's fantastic in Dune as well. The Elephant Man is generally regarded as one of Lynch's more accessible and mainstream works, alongside The Straight Story, 1999. Very good. It was a critical and commercial success with 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Actor. After receiving widespread criticism for failing to honour the makeup effects, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences were prompted to create the Academy Award for Best Makeup the following year. No way, I didn't know that. So they didn't used to have that award for Best Makeup, eh? They're saying, according to this, it was thanks, or it was down to The Elephant Man that was made, that was created. The film also won the BAFTA Awards for Best Film, Best Actor and Best Production Designer, and it was nominated for Golden Globe Awards. It also won a French César Award for Best Foreign Film. The BAFTAs, by the way, are the British version of the Oscars, so the British Academy Film Awards. Yes, not seen it for years, as I say. A few numbers here. So it says here it had a budget of estimated to be around $5 million, and it took $26 million in North America. It says in brackets. That's a really good. Isn't it a good take for such a small budget film? Wow. Interesting note here for casting. Dustin Hoffman wanted the role of John Merrick, but Sanger rejected the idea, saying, "We're always going to be looking to see where the Elephant Man ends and Dustin Hoffman begins." Lynch considered his friend Jack Nance. Okay, well, he cast John Hurt in the role after seeing The Naked Civil Servant movie with John Hurt. A made-for-TV biographical comedy drama film, The Naked Civil Servant. Don't remember that, 1975. Okay, very good. Let's get back to the studio and who's here. Okay, we've got Kevin Sonia here again. John Hurt was shooting Heaven's Gate in Montana but got bored and he shot Elephant Man and then went back to Montana to finish Heaven's Gate. Well, Heaven's Gate, God, that's kind of infamous, isn't it, for taking so long? And not being a success, if I remember rightly. Dwayne is saying, I watched Eraserhead and Breakfast with Classy Fred Blassie and Andy Kaufman. Bizarre combo, and I got stoned back in the day. Oh, sorry, mate, I saw your comment earlier on. I don't know if it's still there or not. Man, what were you saying? Like, don't you miss the 80s? The 80s. Those were the days. Armando Llewellyn saying Lost Highway was also experimental and unconventional, right before his most conventional film, The Straight Story. God, Lost Highway, yeah. Again, I need to rewatch. It's been a while. So John Hammond is saying, what I remember about Elephant Man is that David was regarded as a nobody outsider by all the actors, but he slowly won them over. It's interesting, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't a big name at the time, was he? No, not at all. Okay, how are we doing? Here we go, let's get a bit of Kyle MacLachlan. Now, I know, before you all start shouting, I know it's not a great adaptation of one of my favourite science fiction or space fantasy books of all time, Frank Herbert's Dune, but there's something about it, maybe because I saw it when I was young, I really liked it. I liked the weirdness. This is before I knew Lynch, I knew what it was like, before I knew what to expect in his movies. But as I say, I saw this in the cinema in Manchester when I was probably going off the release date. I was either 11 or 12, so it was quite an early cinema experience for me. And I don't know if you remember, but at the time there was huge hype for this movie. It was really hyped, especially in the UK. So I was so excited to see it. I didn't know the book it was based on back then. I just thought, wow, this looks like a cool sci-fi movie, a bit like Star Wars, maybe. Wow. Anyway, there's something about it. I love Lynch's version of Arrakis, the way he does. He doesn't look it on this photo here, but he made it look golden, the golden sands, much more than the kind of grey version that Villeneuve has done, more realistic version. Golden sands and really blue sky. Yeah, there's something about it I liked. McLachlan wasn't bad in it too, and some great performances. Patrick Stewart's in there, number one, he's in there. Freddie Jones, of course. Who is it? Who's the guy who was in Twin Peaks playing Ed the mechanic? Who? Oh my God, he's in it. He's in quite a few of Lynch's movies too. Yeah, it's got kind of an all-star cast. Virginia Madsen does the opening narration. Wow, God, so beautiful back then, and still now, but. So, should we have a quick chat about Dune? We all know, yeah, it was being made by Lynch, but it got recut by the studio, so he took his name off it. It's a 1984 American epic space opera film written and directed by David Lynch, based on the 1965 novel of the same name by Frank Herbert. It was filmed at Churubusco Studios in Mexico City. The soundtrack was composed by the rock band Toto, with a contribution from Brian Eno. Its large ensemble cast includes Kyle MacLachlan in his film debut, Patrick Stewart, Brad Dourif, oh yeah, how can you forget, and Dean Stockwell, Virginia Madsen, Jose Ferrer, Sean Young, Silvana Mangano, Sting. How could I forget Sting? I am an Englishman in, not New York, Japan. Linda Hunt and Max von Sydow. Quick drink of tea. Forgot about me Earl Grey. Earl Grey, hot. Patrick Stewart. The setting, of course, is the distant future, chronicling the conflict between rival noble families as they battle for control of the extremely harsh desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. The planet is the only source of the drug melange, which allows prescience and is vital to space travel. Man, I could go on about Dune. I've done a review of the book on this channel, but love that. Love the book. Love both movies. I know Lynch's gets a lot of crap, but hey, he didn't have control of it. Let's see what it says quickly about it. I think it was a box office. I don't know if it's a bomb, but it didn't do well, right? Let's have a look. It says the film opened on December 14th, 1984. It grossed $6 million in its opening weekend, ranking number 2 behind Beverly Hills Cop. Wow. By the end of its run, Dune had grossed $30,925,000, so almost $31 million, equivalent to $91 million in 2023. It earned theatrical rentals of $37 million worldwide. On an estimated production budget of $40 to $42 million at the time, the film was considered a box office disappointment. The film later had more success and has been called the Heaven's Gate of science fiction. No way, we were just talking about that, weren't we, in the chat? That's classic. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I know, mate, I hear you. Zags, how you doing, man? Just dropping in. Thanks, mate, thanks for popping in, I appreciate it. Talking Lynch. Armando's saying, given the limitations of technology and special effects at the time, I thought Dune was actually groundbreaking, imaginative and creative. I tell you, mate, I'm with you. I know the effects have not aged well, especially the sandworms. It just can't be helped, but I love the space scenes, and I love the way he imagined the Harkonnen's planet. It was so like dark and gothic and like H.R. Geiger-esque, Geiger-esque, like that kind of alien style. Who can forget Baron Vladimir von Harkonnen? The performance in that is so camp. By who is it? Let me just check the cast here. I know it's Kenneth something, British actor. Just give me 1 second. Kenneth Macmillan as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Yes, we had Francesca Annis, beautiful Francesca Annis as Lady Jessica. I also mentioned Virginia Madsen in an early role for her as Princess Irulan. Where are we? Everett McGill, that's what I was trying to think of. Everett McGill is the guy who's in Twin Peaks. He played Stilgar, the leader of the Fremen, with whom Paul and Jessica take refuge. Did he? I don't remember him playing Stilgar, no way. Just goes to show. Sean Phillips, of course, from Blade Runner. Oh no. Yeah, Sean Phillips, right. I've got it right now. It's got her listed as the wrong one here. On Wikipedia it says Sean Phillips as a Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Moheim. No, she was Cheney. Dale. She was Cheney. Cheney. Freddie Jones as Thufir Howard. That's right. Brad Dourif as Peter De Vries. Wow. Oh, sorry, Sean Young. Sean Young as Cheney. Sean Phillips is somebody else. Gray's lost it. He's got stream brain already. Patrick Stewart as Gurney Halleck, of course. Yeah. Dean Stockwell as Wellington Ewer. The Doc. The Traitor. Sting as Fade Routher. Yeah, I really like it. I like the way it looks. The CG was horrible, but it was trippy. It was. As I say, as I mentioned it before, there's a really good fan edit on YouTube. It might have been recoloured, but they've made it look golden. The Sans Dune looks incredible. Big Ed, right? I know. You forget he's in it. I didn't know he was in it, of course, until I'd seen Twin Peaks and then came back to the movie later. Nadine! That's classic. Okay, where are we? What's next? Going in order here. Wow, oh my god. Speaking of sexy women. Goodness gracious me. Gray's losing it. Okay, let's get on to Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet 1986. So 2 years after Dune, Blue Velvet, an American neo-noir mystery thriller film written and directed by Lynch, blending psychological horror with film noir. The film stars Kyle MacLachlan, Isabella Rossellini, Dennis Hopper and Laura Dern. It's named after the 1951 song, the classic song Blue Velvet, which, is it like Dean Stockwell does a karaoke version, doesn't he, in Blue Velvet, and you've got Dennis Hopper like sniffing his gas and going crazy, rubbing the cloth to his face. Jesus Christ. Anyway, crazy scenes. I've not even seen it in years. I still remember that scene. As I say, I when I was young teenager, I kind of saw it as a half horror movie, you know what I mean? More than a mystery, a pulp noir. The film concerns a young college student who, returning home to visit his ill father, discovers a severed human ear in a field. The ear then leads him to uncover a vast criminal conspiracy and enter into a romantic relationship with a troubled lounge singer. What a performance by, I would say, Rossellini, more than Kyle MacLachlan. She's incredible in this movie. If you look at her, just watch the way she plays it. She's on almost like a nightmare. She, up and down, crazy like moments of madness and need, desperation. And then she's mean, she's cruel to him, she's beating him. Oh my God, it's a crazy performance. It's so good. The screenplay of Blue Velvet had been passed around multiple times in the late 1970s and early 80s. No way, I didn't know that. With several major studios declining it due to its strong sexual and violent content. After the failure of his 1984 film Dune, Lynch made attempts at developing a more personal story, somewhat characteristic of the surrealist style displayed in Eraserhead. Blue Velvet initially received a divided critical response, with many stating that its explicit content served little artistic purpose. Nevertheless, the film earned Lynch his second nomination for the Academy Award for Best Director, and received the year's Best Film and Best Director prizes from the National Society of Film Critics. No way. It came to achieve cult status. Well, that's when I saw it, later when I was in art college. You know what I mean? Trying to work out what it's all about. What's life all about? I'm any good at drawing, painting? Not really. Wish I was better. But yeah, great to see that at that time, I think. Really formative time to watch this movie. Where are we? As an example of a director casting against the norm, it was credited for revitalising Dennis Hopper's career and for providing Rossellini with a dramatic outlet beyond her previous work as a fashion model and a cosmetic spokeswoman. Fascinating. Yeah, great movie. I mean, enough said, you know what I mean? Just go. If you've not already seen it, go and watch it. Oh, sorry, I missed this. John saying, have you seen Kyle's tribute to David? It's beautiful. You can tell they had a genuine connection. I haven't seen it yet. No, I will look out for that. Thanks for the heads up. I saw a lovely clip someone had put on Twitter of when David Lynch meets Cheryl Lee. I'm going off memory here. Is that the right name? Twin Peaks, when they're doing the return. Suppose it's the first time he's seen her. You know, she's wearing the dress. She's back as Laura Palmer in the strange zone beyond the, beyond mirror, whatever, the dark zone. Can't remember what it's called. With the crazy flooring, the black and white patterns, the red curtains, the lodge. And when he sees her, he's just like, oh my God, you just look amazing. You haven't changed, hardly changed. He's like kissing her on the cheek about 4 or 5 times, and he kisses her hand. David, you lucky man. No wonder he was always working with, beautiful actresses. Kevin is saying that Blue Velvet is David's masterpiece. Dennis Hopper forgot the lines of Blue Velvet, so he did a duet with Dean Stockwell, and that ended up in the film. Yeah, that scene is unbelievable, isn't it? It's a cracking classic, disturbing, but also, it gives you chills at the back of your spine scene. This was Laura Dern's debut. That's right, I forgot she was in this. She plays a really small part, doesn't she? He inherited great acting genes from her father, she did, but she's become an outstanding actor since then in her own right. Yeah, absolutely. That's the question, Zax. What is your favourite Lynch film? It's one of the hardest questions to answer. It's something I'm going to probably answer at the end because I'm going through them all now. I need to rewatch them all. Simple as that. I need to watch them all, but I do have a real soft spot for Wild at Heart. It's one of my favourites, and for reasons. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Yeah. But you could name a whole list, couldn't you? But this is a very, very close third. But this is how I feel right now. It could change by the end of the stream. Fantastic. Mommy. Yeah, Mommy, Jesus. Dennis Hopper, unbelievable. Behind the scenes of The Return is amazing. Blair is saying Wild at Heart is my favourite. Blair, I was talking about that earlier. I was shouting out. We did you join me, you and Stephen Ransom. We did a live stream review of that. It's on the channel somewhere if you look at the archives about a year and a half ago, or it might have been this time last year. It was February, I know that, because I was talking about St. Patrick's Day. Awesome one in the chat. How you doing, man? Good to see you. And Salty Travelling Sea. So do let me know in the chat. Do drop your favourites if you have a favourite Lynch movie. It's hard to pick one. Just realised the sun's streaming through. I don't care. I'm too much into the zone. The waffle zone is here. Where's Gray? Drop a sticker quick. Drop those waffles in the chat if you remember. Or the beers. Cheers. Okay. I am live. It's true. Live and kicking. Just about. Twin Peaks was shot, says John N, by the way. Twin Peaks was shot in North Bend in Washington State. You can see Mount Si in the background. I've never been to the States. I would love to go. I'd love to visit the Twin Peaks locations. One day, that would be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the comments. Cheers, Salty. David Lynch. Heineken. What are we talking about, Salty? I just clipped that off, off images. Lost Highway is very underrated. Yes, I think that's one I want to rewatch first. Definitely. We've got Sir John Hammond saying Mulholland Drive is his favourite. Mate, that's really, really up there as well. I say it's so difficult to choose. Busker is agreeing here. Mulholland is the best. Blair remembers the stream, Wild at Heart. God, Nicolas Cage. Has he ever been better than that movie? The combination between him and Laura Dern, the chemistry, the fire, the sparks between them, so good. Look at this. We've got Salty dropping a happy belated birthday, Mr. Waffles. I'm just going to change this image, by the way, because before it gets taken down by YouTube, you can't show knives on YouTube. What are you doing? Why are you waffling on? Thank you very much, Salty. What do we have? What can I drop for you? Apart from that gorgeous image. Oh, my God. Cheryl Lee as Laura Palmer. How lucky was Kyle MacLachlan and David Lynch working with her? What do we have? Nothing Lynchian, the most disturbing clip, the darkest, weirdest clip I have is this. And it's a bit of a link to Dune with this one.
I don't know anything.
That's the one thing I remind myself every day when I wake up. I don't know anything. It's true. The more I find out, the less I know, the less I believe. You know what I mean? Thanks, Salty. How you doing? What's your favourite? Zax is saying the Lost Highway had a great soundtrack. I tell you what, that's another thing I've not really talked about, but with Lynch movies and with the TV series, he always has great music, great soundtracks. Maybe later on, maybe, I don't know, were his tastes still as good? I'm talking about Twin Peaks: The Return and he had was it every episode had a band playing out at the end? Maybe not every episode, but a lot of them did. But yeah, some of the soundtracks, the song choices, so good. Is it Angelo? Is it Badalamenti or Balladini? Badalamenti? Twin Peaks theme song. My gosh. Julie Cruz singing that. The chemistry between Cage and Dern, says John. I don't think that energy has been replicated since 1990. Wild at Heart remains my favourite Lynch film, hands down. I tell you, it's up there with me, and maybe because it's one of the first I really, really got into and just loved right from the first time I saw it. And Sherilyn Fenn as well. The Sherilyn Fenn in that was so hot. So John is saying The Return is, in a sense, the culmination of not only the original Twin Peaks, but some of Lynch's films. Like, they're all sort of the same mythology. I did read some really good comments about that, and people saying that basically it was like Lynch without any studio interference. He was allowed to just go for it with Twin Peaks: The Return. I don't know how true that is, but where was it? I was reading a good article on Vulture, surprisingly, which is, there's some nice remembrances for David Lynch on there, worth a read. I'm going to share that in maybe towards the end of the stream, but on Vulture, if you look for it, it's called Beyond the End. Beyond the End. David Lynch, Vulture. It's written by, where are we? Matt Zoller Seitz, critic, filmmaker, and staff writer for Vulture. It opens with Beyond the End. David Lynch spent his 5-decade film and TV career contemplating life, death, and the indescribable realms in between. And it opens with a quote, "Nothing will die." That's the closing line of David Lynch's The Elephant Man. Wow. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Great comments. Keeping up with you. Kevin is saying that days before his passing, Lynch had to evacuate from his Mulholland home. No way. That's right, of course. Near Runyon Canyon because of the LA fires. Rest in peace, my friend. You'll be greatly missed. Absolutely. Back that 100%. Willem Dafoe was Bobby Peru in Wild at Heart. Absolutely bonkers with the fake teeth in and when he's got the stocking on. The scene and what happens to him without spoiling it. Oh my God. The way he goes out. Jesus. Yeah, Kevin's backing that up, mate. Dafoe was Bobby Peru. It's a classic. It's probably one of his best, shortest but best performances. Most memorable performances. Hey, how you doing? Davina Duckworth. No way, great to see you. That's cool. I see you in the chat in Film Threat live streams. Great to see you. Rest in peace, David Lynch. He's in the White Lodge. The White Lodge. Oh my goodness. You wonder, don't you? Wonder what happens. Where do we go after we pass? As I say, I don't know much about the real life, David Lynch. I know he was into transcendental meditation. I know he was a big believer in this is not the end. It's not the end. This is just this that we're wearing is just a shell, basically. What is us will continue, will carry on. I sure hope so. Kevin Sonny saying Defoe played Christ in The Last Temptation right before Bobby Peru. Talk about polar opposites. That is great. Yeah, great comment. Yes, he was in that, wasn't he? The Last Temptation of Christ. And Zach shouting out, Divina, Divina. Fantastic. I love the name, by the way, Divina. I've mentioned this before. I know you don't really know me, but from growing up in Manchester in the UK, Coronation Street, there's a character called Vera Duckworth. So I just love that name. It's from that. I wasn't a big fan, by the way, of Coronation Street, but it was set in my hometown. So there we go. So John, The Return, Episode 8, I firmly believe depicts David's view of the afterlife, where we meet the fireman and Lady Dido. Wow. Oh God, I need to rewatch it. That's not the episode with the atomic explosion, is it? Was that episode 6? That is just I'm going to say incredibly, insanely incredible, isn't it? Unbelievable episode of television. Unbelievable. So, I know I'm waffling. Let's get back to... I'm skipping Wild at Heart for now. No, let's do that. Screw it. We'll do it in order. Let's do Wild at Heart. Let me get the photo. I want to talk about Twin Peaks because, God, I love it so much. But, here we go. Let's close up on. There we go. Nick and Laura. Wild at Heart is a 1990 American black comedy romantic crime film, wow, written and directed by Lynch, based on the 1990 novel of the same name by Barry Gifford, starring Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, Willem Dafoe, Crispin Glover, Diane Ladd, Isabella Rossellini, again, Harry Dean Stanton. The film follows Sailor Ripley and Lula Fortune, a young couple who go on the run from Lula's domineering mother and the criminals she hires to kill Sailor. All the way through it, I love the allusions to Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West. It's just so crazy. Let's see what it's saying. Lynch intended to only produce the film. No way. So initially he wasn't going to direct it. But after reading Gifford's book, he decided to write and direct it as well. He disliked the ending of the novel and decided to change it to fit his vision of the main characters. The film is noted for its allusions to The Wizard of Oz and Elvis Presley, of course. Early test screenings for the film were poorly received, with Lynch estimating that at least 300 people walked out due to its sexual and violent content. No way. Wild at Heart won the Palme d'Or at the 1990 Cannes Film Festival, which at the time was considered a controversial decision. The film was theatrically released in the United States on August 17, 1990. It received polarised reviews from critics and grossed 14 million, only 14, against its 10 million budget. Okay, at the 6th Independent Spirit Awards, Willem Dafoe was nominated for Best Supporting Male, and Elms won for Best Cinematography. Ladd was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and the Golden Globe Award as well. Okay, the film was being positively re-evaluated by critics in the years since its release. You see, they just didn't understand it. It was too out there for them. Some of the scenes in this movie, I mean, I've talked about it in depth before, but do you know the scene where Sailor and Lula, they come across the car crash victim? You know what that is, don't you? It's Sherilyn Fenn, the girl in the accident, the car crash. And it's not really spoilers, I'm sure, but spoiler warning, but they watch her die, on screen. She's dying. It's cry. Even talk about it now, I'm getting chills at the back of my spine. It's an unbelievable scene. And that's just one scene of many in this film. God. Whew, so good. The Crispin Glover. Oh God, the Crispin Glover sandwiches scene. Things like that. Willem Dafoe, with a shotgun and the mask, the stocking mask. Just crazy. Who is it? Not Isabella Rossellini. Grace Zabriskie, who plays Laura Palmer's mum in Twin Peaks. Grace Zabriskie with a frightening performance in Wild at Heart. When, who is it? Lula's mum, has hired the killers to go after, and Harry Dean Stanton's character is trying to convince her not to do it, and they go and, oh God, what happens to him? Listen to me, I'm losing it. So it also stars Freddie Jones, he's in this as well. Jack Nance again, You know, favourites of Lynch. Cheryl Lee as the Good Witch is in it. So you got Twin Peaks, Cheryl Lee and Sherilyn Fenn. Is Everett McGill in it? He's not listed here. No. Oh, wow. Yeah, fantastic. What a great movie. So good that we talked about it already. Let's see how you're doing in the chat. Got a light, episode 8. Thanks for that. I'm gonna rewatch. Say, God, I can't wait. I'm so excited. So much to rewatch tonight because I'm doing this in Japan. It's 2:20 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon in the future. So I can't wait. Can't wait to watch some movies. I'm probably going to watch either Lost Highway because it's been so long since I've seen that, Lost Highway, or Wild at Heart, because just talking about it now has got me so excited. John is saying Wild at Heart, Nick Cage and Laura Dern is truly masterpiece. Isabel looked really good as a blonde. Loved the references to Wizard of Oz. Crispin Glover was awesome and creepy as usual. I'm making my lunch. So good. Salty saying I saw Wild at Heart in the theatre while in college. So damn good. Yeah, I remember hearing about it. I'm watching the old BBC, what used to be the BBC film review show. Was it Film? And it had the year, so like film 89, film 90. And Barry Norman, the old film critic, I think it's rest in peace to him too, isn't it? He was like raving about it, and that was enough for me. I was like, okay, it looks amazing. I saw the trailer, and I went to see it at the theatre. Watched it when it came out on rental video. Remember those days? VHS. Made my dad sit down and watch it with me. He was like, what is going on? What is this about? But he was blown away. You know, he was caught up in it. And the soundtrack to Wild at Heart is got to be one of the best. Randomly, Davina saying, randomly, Crispin Glover was also in Hot Tub Time Machine. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Do you know, I don't think I've seen that. I've heard the title, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Oh, what's going on, Gray? Have to fix that. I do. I'm just going to change the light because the crazy sunshine, afternoon sunshine pouring in is freaking me out in the background. So I'm going to drop you a random clip. It's unrelated. Oh no, it isn't. There's still a little bit of a theme to this going on. Continuing the Patrick Stewart from Dune theme. He's in this movie as well. Where are we? Here we go. Excalibur. If a boy is to be king, then a boy's king. Okay, let's get back to you in the chat. Don't know why I just put my headphones in. What am I doing? What am I doing? Armando Llewellyn saying, I love Wild at Heart, truly the gold standard. Great directing, acting, storyline, photography, the whole package, music, soundtrack. I'm with you, mate, 100%. It's hard to beat it. And then, I mean, what a conundrum to have. What a conundrum. It's a fancy word for this time, the stream brain. But like to choose a best of, you know, to choose only one, it's almost impossible. Tried to keep David Letterman on late night while wearing clogs. You're talking about Savannah Defoe? Few of the actors knew what David Lynch was going for, so they just had to trust him. Davina saying that. Yeah. Oh my God, how scary. Grace Zabriskie, she's always scary. She was in the first Twin Peaks, the first series, you know, she was kind of on the verge of a breakdown the whole time, wasn't she? But it's such a great performance. In the opening episode, when she hears the news, well, not properly, but she kind of figures it out. She's on the phone and talking to Leyland, to her husband. He's being visited, isn't he, by the sheriff in the hotel. And he drops the phone. And then you can hear softly in the background, she's just screaming. She's screaming on the end of the phone, like screaming down the line because she knows her daughter is dead. God. Do you think, I'm going to say, is it Lynch? A stupid question. How much of an effect, is it down to Lynch? Did he bring out these incredible performances? Was it just like genius casting? Did he just know what he was doing? Was it serendipity? Did it all just come together? Was it the universe? Konnichiwa, John Hammond. Yes, I'm in Japan. It's true. Crazy, right? That's why it's got this crazy channel name. It's a long story. Wakizashi, the short sword. and Teahouse. You weren't allowed to bring swords into the tea house in Japan back in the very old days. Even the samurai, even the shogun, even the king had to leave the sword outside the tea house. So, if there's a wakizashi in the tea house, you know, there's got to be trouble. Lost Highway is my favourite, Davina. Okay, yeah, it's incredible. But that's it now, guys. You've fixed it. That's it. It has to be Lost Highways, the rewatch tonight, because I think that's probably the longest since I've seen that one. Outside of Eraserhead, which, you know, you have to be in the right mood. Zax is shouting out Wild at Heart. Absolutely brilliant. You're hotter than Georgia asphalt. Zax, that's salty to Zax. Quick sip of tea. Kevin is saying that I was in 5th grade when Wild at Heart was in the theatre. I won't forget it. I became a fan ever since. My goodness. Did you see it? Did you go and see it in 5th grade? That'd be so cool if you did that. What part of Japan are you located in? I just came back from Kanagawa. I'm in a part of Japan that no one's really ever heard of. The prefecture, I'll give you that, is called Tottori. There we go, Bird Island or something like that. Tottori Prefecture, which is on the west coast. Very lucky to be on the west coast, fortunately, because, touch wood, as I say this, it's the least hit hard by earthquakes. It's not the other coast, you know. I know it's a bit mean to say that, but I've felt a few over here. But, you know, touch wood, we don't get hit by really bad ones or tsunamis. Saying that. Apple Wagon, one of my favourite movies ever. Top 3 for me. Wild at Heart, yeah. I'm with you, mate. It's hard to call it. It's hard to pick a top, but it's in the top 3 for me too. Crispin Glover is an oddball, isn't he? Do you know, after watching Back to the Future, and then that came before, and then you see him in this, you wonder, don't you? Is this the same guy? But then you remember some of the scenes, and you think, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's the same actor. Kristen played Andy Warhol in Oliver Stone's The Doors, another movie I really liked back in the day. Kevin, yeah, nice shout out there. He gives Jim a golden telephone and asks if he wants to talk to God. The way he does that performance as well. Cheers, Zax. Thank you. Happy belated birthday. 52, folks. 52 and still standing. Sitting down right now. Salty saying Lynch had fantastic actors who wanted to work with and who took his direction. That's why his movies are great and weird. Yeah, great casting. Really good casting. And I think, you know, whether he must be a fantastic director. You know, turned down George Lucas. What a good choice. And went his own way, and what a legacy. Davina, yes, I have seen it. Inland Empire. That's probably the one I've only watched once. It's a long movie, and it's, I need to go back and reevaluate it. I wasn't that struck on it on my first watching, but as I say, you know, over time, I think things do tend to improve, and you probably catch a lot more on a second or third viewing. I mean, Laura Dern is incredible. That goes without saying, but yeah, I wasn't sure about it. It's extremely long. I watched it on disc. I feel sorry for the theatre audiences. Yeah, me too. We rented it out when it first came out, and it was like, God, this is a long movie. I think we had to watch it in 2 parts. So John Hammond is saying the Japanese were apparently some of the most rabid Twin Peaks fans when it originally came out. Okay, that's interesting to know. I didn't know that. John N., you must do a double feature, my friend. Lost Highway, followed by Wild at Heart. Should we do it? We can do it, can't we? Let's do it. You know, the whole evening is ahead later on. After I go out for a walk, get some healing nature in me bones and me brain, then sit down for some weirdness with Lynch. And I think I've got to watch, I will be watching them sober because for reasons I'm really taking it easy at the moment, but I want to get everything in this film. I want to get it and not miss anything and not forget anything from both of these movies. Okay, you've only watched it once as well, yeah. Yeah, as I say, it's one definitely go back to, but it's probably going to be towards the end of my rewatches after Eraserhead and maybe The Elephant Man. You know, I'm pretty curious to watch The Straight Story again as well, just to see if you go from, say, Lost Highway to The Straight Story. You know, that must be a mad A mad double bill. Dwayne is saying, I remember seeing Crispin Glover on Family Ties back in the 80s. Cuckoo. No way. I didn't know he was in that. I don't think we had that at the time. Growing up in the UK, it might have been on. I think maybe Channel 4 might have shown it, but I missed it. I didn't get into it. Is that the one that Michael J. Fox was, became famous from? Got the right one. Criterion released a 4K disc of Lost Highway, says Davina. Wow. 4K. I don't have, unfortunately. I'd love a 4K player and TV. John, during Twin Peaks, they shot Japanese coffee commercial. I believe it was for Georgia Coffee brand. Yeah, it's a big brand over here. You get the classic canned coffees from the vending machines. Great in winter because they come out red hot. They're lovely. Quick shot of coffee, although they do tend to put a bit too much sugar in these days, sugar and milk. Yeah. And Davina was also saying, haven't seen The Straight Story yet. Definitely one to watch, but yeah, take out... Don't be expecting a surreal trip down, dark dimensions and strange rabbit holes. But to go back to watch it again, thinking, what we know about Lynch and all his movies, it'll be interesting to look out for any kind of things, going on in the background maybe, or, things that are said. Yeah. Awesome comments, folks. Thank you so much. I can't believe it. It's been great fun so far. Okay, so... What was I going back? I'm going back to Twin Peaks. Yeah, Fire Walk with Me was after Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. My goodness, I got a Blu-ray collection. I think it's a collector's edition. I don't know, of the Twin Peaks series, and it's got the uncut David Lynch director's version, which not the theatrical cut, the Lynch's version on it. It's Mamma Mia. I mean, it's pretty much almost the same, but definitely worth watching if you've not seen it. The Lynch cut. Fire Walk with Me. Right, where are we? Let's get back to it. Give Gray a quick break from waffling on so much. Let's drop a clip for you in the chat. Again, this is something random. These are like movies that I absolutely love. I'm sure you'll like this one. Tetsuo, Canada. Not Canada. Canada! Okay, here we go. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is a 1992 psychological horror film. It's directed by David Lynch and co-written by Lynch and Robert Engels. It serves as a prequel to the television series Twin Peaks, 1990 to 1991, created and produced by Mark Frost and David Lynch. It revolves around the investigation into the murder of Teresa Banks, played by Pamela Gidley, and the last 7 days in the life of Laura Palmer, Cheryl Lee, a popular high school student in the fictional Washington town of Twin Peaks. Unlike the series, which was an uncanny blend of detective fiction, horror, the supernatural, offbeat humour and soap opera tropes, Fire Walk with Me has a much darker, less humorous tone. Most of the television cast reprised their roles, though the majority of their scenes were cut. A few notable cast members, including Lara Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn, and Richard Beymer, did not reappear for various reasons. I heard that Lara Flynn Boyle, this is just what I've heard, I don't know if it's true, she didn't want to do the sex scenes, so she refused to play Donna again. Boyle's character Donna Hayward was recast with Moira Kelly. Kyle MacLachlan, who starred as Special Agent Dale Cooper in the series, was reluctant to return out of fear of being typecast, which resulted in a smaller presence in the film than originally planned. 2 planned sequels never came to fruition, but 91 minutes of deleted scenes were released in 2014 as Twin Peaks: The Missing Pieces, and the story's narrative continued through the 2017 series Twin Peaks: The Return. Fire Walk with Me premiered at the 1992 Cannes Film Festival in competition for the Palme d'Or. It has long been reported that the film was booed and jeered by the audience at Cannes, though co-writer Robert Engels denies this happened. Upon release, the film received polarised reviews from critics in the United States and was a box office failure domestically, although it fared much better in Japan. No way! Just what you were talking about. The film has been positively re-evaluated, like a lot of Lynch's movies, yeah? In the 21st century, it's now widely regarded as one of Lynch's major works and one of the greatest films of the 1990s. Supposedly had a budget of 10 million, it only made a North American box office of 4.2, so quite a loss, for a small, supposedly, kind of independent movie, wasn't it? Just have a quick scan down to, reappraisal, of course, people loving it now. It's not just an artistic triumph, says The Guardian in 2017. Not just in its own right, it's the key to the entire Twin Peaks universe. A quarter of a century on, the film is being rightly rediscovered by fans and critics as Lynch's unsung masterwork. It took a long time and it took its toll on its maker, but Fire Walk with Me has finally come in from the cold. That's an article from The Guardian, 2017, by Martin Conterio. Twin Peaks: A Return. The film contains a dream sequence in which Annie says the line, "The good Dale is in the lodge and can't leave. Write it in your diary." This was originally intended to set up 2 more films in which Laura's diary entry was discovered, continuing and then concluding the series' narrative in a non-linear style going across time. However, the 2 planned sequels were cancelled because of the poor performance of the film. By 2001, Lynch said the Twin Peaks franchise is dead as a doornail. In 2014, however, it was announced that the series would continue with Lynch involved. Lynch confirmed that Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me will be significant to the events of the miniseries. In 2017, Twin Peaks: The Return was released. It serves as the 3rd season of the series and depicts events which happened 25 years after the conclusion of the 2nd season. It also uses many elements introduced in Fire Walk with Me. Yeah, love this movie. It's dark, you got to be in the right mood again to watch it like a lot of his films, but whoa. Where are we? Angelo Badalamenti, I got his name pronounced right finally. He did the soundtrack for this. There's even one track by David Lynch called The Pink Room, according to the track listing. It got the best soundtrack in the Brit Awards. It won best soundtrack. No way. Best original score for Badalamenti. It won for the Independent Spirit Awards too, and best music in the Saturn Awards. Okay, let's get back to the chat. Wow, going for it. Where are we? Where are we up to? Richard Farnsworth was excellent in The Straight Story, says Sir John Hammond. No more David Lynch coffee, unfortunately. Divina. That's too bad. The Straight Story was about the adventure, not so much about the destination. Although we got a special cameo at the end when he sees his brother, John N. Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Yeah. Again, looking forward to a rewatch. Dwayne is saying that I always like Crispin as George McFly. Ordered a glass of milk, and I am your density. Salty, I've only seen Walk with Fire once, Fire Walk with Me. Come on, man. Disturbing and brilliant. The sound design, that is insane. Do you remember that scene where, I think it's Bob, is it not Bob? Bob's brother? Oh my God. Basically, it's a car scene and one of the characters is revving the engine of the car. It's so loud that you can't catch the dialogue and it's deliberate. It's deliberate and it's just like, yeah, Laura Palmer's freaking out, her dad in the car and whoever they crashed with. It's insane scene. Akira, Canada, it is a classic. Fire Walk with Me is a bit divisive. Yes. Divisive for those who only liked the cosy aspects of Twin Peaks, Sir John Hammond. Yeah, that's right. I think people were expecting it to be, the season, like season 3 basically, weren't they? Or follow up in the same vein as the more almost family friendly, no not really, series, which got darker and darker as it went on. But I tell you, man, the episodes that Lynch directs of Twin Peaks, they are just fantastic. They're the best episodes in my opinion. I wish he did more. Very different in tone, it is. Salty saying Laura Flynn Boyle was in another movie around that time called Threesome, I think. Interesting that she didn't want to do nudity for Lynch. That's just what I heard, mate. I don't know, how true that is. It might have been she didn't want to, just reprise the character, maybe. Or maybe, it was about money. Who knows? But I heard it was... She didn't like the excessiveness of the sexual scenes, shall we say, in there. Davina's saying that I read that Boyle was dating Kyle MacLachlan at the time, so no romance between Coop and Audrey Horne. Oh, this is... I see. John N. They expanded the singer Chris Isaac's role so that Kyle MacLachlan wouldn't get typecast as another FBI Mulder. Yeah, mate, that's just what he was saying, isn't it? He was saying he was worried about taking the role and being typecast. I also love seeing David Bowie with a Western accent. That's a really freaky scene, isn't it, where you see him appear in the film. Hell God, baby, damn no. Davina saying, I love Chris Isaac's show later, too. Wicked Game. It's one of those songs, isn't it, man? It gives you chills when you hear the opening guitar. Yeah, as I say, I'm not an expert. I don't have a biography. I'm just reading off Wikipedia, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt or two. The golf club scene is one of my favourite parts of Fire Walk With Me. Holy shit. Oh my god. Zax is saying, never watched Twin Peaks. Probably never will. Well, that's a shame, mate. It's a shame you miss it out. In my humble opinion. I'm going on too long, aren't I? Okay, here we go. What's next? We have coming up next. So Twin Peaks was 1992, Fire Walk With Me. Lost Highway, 5 years later, 1997. Directed by David Lynch, co-written by Lynch and Barry Gifford. Again, it stars Bill Pullman, Patricia Arquette, who is wow in this movie, Balthazar Getty and Robert Blake in his final film role. The film follows a musician, Pullman, who begins receiving mysterious VHS tapes of him and his wife, Arquette, in their home. He is suddenly convicted of murder, after which he inexplicably disappears and is replaced by a young mechanic, Getty, leading a different life. This is a bizarre film, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely bizarre. Upon release, Lost Highway received mixed reviews, surprise, surprise, and it grossed only $3.7 million in North America after a modest 3-week run. Most critics initially dismissed the film as incoherent, but it has since attracted a cult following and critical praise, as well as scholarly interest. Lost Highway is the first of 3 Lynch films set in Los Angeles, followed by Mulholland Drive in 2001, Inland Empire 2006. The film was adapted as an opera by Austrian composer Olga Neuwirth in 2003. Did you know that? I certainly didn't. Have a quick scan down for anything interesting. Soundtrack. On the soundtrack, the score was composed by Angelo Badalamenti again, with additional music by Barry Adamson. Lynch collaborated with musician Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails to provide additional music. Okay, interesting. 2 songs by Reznor and Nine Inch Nails, The Perfect Drug and Driver Down, were specifically composed for the film. Reznor then produced a soundtrack album that includes the film's score and songs by artists such as David Bowie, Lou Reed, Marilyn Manson, The Smashing Pumpkins and Rammstein. Marilyn Manson's contributions include the cover of Screaming Jay Hawkins' I Put a Spell on You. No way! I think I vaguely remember that. Interesting. So is this the one, guys and girls in the chat? Is this one you tell me that I have to watch first tonight on my rewatch? Hey! Let's go. Oh, how we doing? I'm catching up. Salty saying about Twin Peaks, the series, it was very much a product of late 80s, early 90s vibes, but I love it. It was truly a huge cultural phenomenon here in the States. In the UK too, Salty, it was massive. People were wearing t-shirts saying I killed Laura Palmer. Do you remember the diary that David Lynch's daughter wrote, The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, that is a mad read. I read that. I've actually read it twice. Once, and then years later I read it. I read it when it first came out. Years later I read it when I was doing a rewatch of the original series, and it goes so well with it. It's actually worth reading. Not saying it's a great book, but it's worth reading. Fear Monarch, how you doing, man? Great to see you. Oh man, I'm late, and it was for the Lynch Fest. Womp womp. Armando is saying that Bill Pullman's house was actually David Lynch's real house. No way. Lynch owned 3 houses in a row on that street, near Mulholland Drive in the Hollywood Hills. The houses are under the David Lynch Trust. Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for the information. Salty saying that Robert Blake was a gritty PI with a talking cockatoo in a 70s TV show called Beretta. Really? I didn't know that. I've never even heard of that. 70s PI TV show called Beretta. Thanks, mate. I'll have to have a look. So John Hammond says that Patricia and Naomi Watts both seemed at their sexiest in their respective films. Interesting how Lynch manages to bring that out. It's true. It's true. It's been remarked on a lot, and yeah, you can see it, can't you? But he always casts drop dead gorgeous leading or supporting actresses. Yeah. Lucky man, lucky man. Good evening, Adiga Outla. Adiga, I want to say it Japanese style, like Sogida Agidagan. Never mind, it's crazy. Local dialect. Awesome one with some more waffles, looking good. Who else is here? Davina's talking to John Hammond, a bit like Alfred Hitchcock, but in a more benign way, I think. Lynch filming beauties. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yes, Hitchcock too. Always had some, incredible leading ladies in his movies. Salty, I saw Nine Inch Nails open for the Jesus and Mary chain in 1989. Such a great show. Wow, look at you. Dropping the music gold there. Talking about Jesus and Mary chain. Twin Peaks is one of my favourite shows. Yes, mine too. At the time, I think there had been nothing quite like it. Because you went in thinking it was going to be one thing, and then it completely flipped your expectations and turned, as it went on, into something incredibly dark and weird. Just the music with the scenes of the pines, blowing in the wind. Just those scenes are enough to give you chills. You feel me? So Lost Highway, tonight. Sounds like it is, folks. Just got a couple more and we'll wrap things up. You can hear I'm actually blocking up. I've been talking so much non-stop for an hour 17. Gray's losing his nose. The crazy sinus problems kick in. So Lost Highway was 97. We jump forward 2 years to 1999 and The Straight Story. A biographical road drama film directed by David Lynch. It was edited and produced by Mary Sweeney, Lynch's longtime partner and collaborator, who also co-wrote the script with John E. Roach. It's based on the true story of Alvin Straight's 1994 journey across Iowa and Wisconsin on a lawnmower, for goodness sake. How can you say no? Excuse me. Just quick, a little bit more. Alvin is an elderly World War II veteran who lives with his daughter. When he hears that his estranged brother has suffered a stroke, Alvin makes up his mind to visit him and hopefully make amends before he dies. Because Alvin's legs and eyes are too impaired for him to receive a driver's license, he hitches a trailer to his recently purchased 30-year-old John Deere 110 lawn tractor, which has... try not to laugh here, which has a maximum speed of about 5 miles per hour and sets off on the 240-mile journey, that's 390 kilometers to you in Japan, the 240-mile journey from Lawrence, Iowa to Mount Zion, Wisconsin. The Straight Story was released by Walt Disney Pictures in the US. The film grossed $6.2 million in a limited theatrical release in the United States. The film was a critical success. Reviewers praised the intensity of the character performances, particularly the realistic dialogue, which film critic Roger Ebert compared to the works of Ernest Hemingway. It received a nomination for the Palme d'Or at the 1999 Cannes Film Festival And Richard Farnsworth received a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actor. But again, according to the wiki figures, 10 million budget, if you can believe that, it only grossed 6.2 million in the US. Okay. Again, the musical score was composed by Angelo Badalamenti, continuing a 13-plus year collaboration with Lynch that began with Blue Velvet. Cool. Okay. How are we doing? Are we good? Are we good? Oh, we've got some new people in the chat. Here we go. Meme on the roof. Good to see you. I hope those houses did not burn in the fires. Yeah, somebody was talking about that in the chat earlier. Supposedly Lynch had to evacuate, not long before he passed away. That's just terrible, isn't it? The timing and terrible, terrible events over there. Hey, I wish I had the money for that, mate. You know what I mean? I'm just a poor English teacher in Japan where salaries have remained stagnant for 20 years. I'm not joking. Okay. Davina, I just nabbed an album called Lux Vixens, Jocelyn Montgomery with David Lynch. Music by 11th century Benedictine nun Hildegard von Bingen. That has got to go down as the most interesting and bizarre comment of the night. It's fantastic. Listen to that. Let us know what it's like. Wow. Meme on the Roof is saying that Lost Highway creeps me out. It creeped me out when I first watched it. It really did. So he's looking it up right now. So Zach's has seen Nine Inch Nails as well at the Hollywood Palladium before the lockdowns. A great show. Dear me. I wish it was, mate. It's allergies. People are blaming it on China already, like everyone blames everything on China, you know what I mean? But the sand comes over, usually in March, it's early this year, comes over from the deserts over there and everything gets covered and turns strangely orange and yellow. You notice it on your washing, if you put your washing out on the balcony. Worth mentioning, if you haven't listened to David narrating Room to Dream, he goes over each of his films. I'm going to note that down. Thank you. So John, that's brilliant. John Hammond with that. Room to Dream. The audio book. So it's him reading it. Oh yeah, fantastic. Love his voice. John N is saying that I love the straight story because you see, small town USA in middle America. It's very low key and subtle. I love the nuanced performances from Farnsworth and Sissy Spacek, who I'd completely forgotten was in that. Okay. Armando Llewellyn, the most underrated Lynch film to date. Farnsworth was money. You guys are money. You must rewatch ASAP. And if you haven't seen it, that's a big recommendation from Armando. Do check out The Straight Story. Dwayne saying my sister's first husband's uncle that did lighting on Beretta, Beverly Hillbillies and Barnaby Jones. She met Robert Blake briefly. Oh, the 70s. I'm a 70s boy. Well, 80s really, but I was born in the 70s. Salty blames it on the geoengineering. And yes, Kevin, Oscar-worthy performances from Richard Farnsworth and Sissy Spacek. My gosh, isn't it great having so much good quality films to rewatch, to look forward to? Really, I really can't wait. Last night I was getting things ready on my watch list, like things that I'm actually able to see in Japan without having to, pay extra for, talking about streaming services anyway. Lost Highway is there, Mulholland Drive is there, Wild at Heart's on the list, can't wait. And back to episode 8 of The Return, Twin Peaks. Nine Inch Nails' performance in it is brilliant. First time a Bang Bang Bar performance appears in the middle of an episode. Do you know, I must have missed this episode. I don't remember it at all. Oh my God. As I say, that's going to be remedied tonight, folks. Thanks again for the recommendations in the chat. You guys and girls out there, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Beverly Hillbillies, wacky shit for 9 seasons, Dwayne. Okay, we're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Straight Story. This is one of the best. This is up there. This is top 3, isn't it? Mulholland Drive. Come on. Come on. Let's go back to the quick wiki summary. 2001, we have Mulholland Drive, a surrealistic neo-noir mystery art film. Surrealistic neo-noir mystery art film. Just listen to all those genres there. Written and directed by David Lynch, starring Justin Theroux, Naomi Watts, breakout role for her, wasn't it? Laura Harring in this. Jeez Louise. Wow, unforgettable. Ann Miller, Robert Forster. It tells the story of an aspiring actress named Betty Elms, Naomi Watts, newly arrived in Los Angeles, who meets and befriends an amnesiac woman, Laura Harring, who's recovering from a car accident. Interesting, the number of car accidents in Lynch's movies, just saying. The motorbike one in Wild at Heart, crazy scene as well. The story follows several other vignettes and characters, including a Hollywood film director, Theroux. The American-French co-production was originally conceived as a television pilot, and a large portion of the film was shot in 1999, with Lynch's plan to keep it open-ended for a potential series. Earl Grey. After viewing Lynch's cut, however, the TV executives rejected it. Lynch then provided an ending to the project, making it a feature film. The half-pilot, half-feature result, along with Lynch's characteristic surrealistic style, has left the general meaning of the film's events open to interpretation, which is one of the things I love about it. Lynch declined to offer an explanation of his intentions for the narrative, leaving audiences, critics and cast members to speculate on what it means. Aren't you glad he did as well? I'm so glad he just left it to everybody. He gave the film the tagline, "A love story in the city of dreams." Mulholland Drive earned Lynch the Best Director award at the 2001 Cannes Film Festival. It was shared with Joel Cohen for The Man Who Wasn't There. Lynch also earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Director for this film. The film boosted Naomi Watts' Hollywood profile considerably and was the last feature film to star veteran Hollywood actress Ann Miller. Mulholland Drive is often regarded as one of Lynch's finest works and as one of the greatest films of all time. It was ranked 8th in the 2022 Sight and Sound Critics poll of the best films ever made, and it topped a 2016 BBC poll of the best films since 2000. A budget of 15 million, supposedly, it made 20 in the box office. A love story in the city of dreams. Dreams and alternative realities. A poisonous Valentine to Hollywood. These just little quotes I'm reading out here randomly. My goodness. Where is it? There was something in the article from Vulture which caught my eye about Mulholland Drive. Where are we? Does it go into it in detail? No, not really. It's more, yeah. Okay, I'll come back to that. Mulholland Drive is brilliant. Simple as that. Absolutely brilliant. Hands down favourite for Sir John. Davina Duckworth saying, yeah, it's brilliant. Love it. And Sir John is also reminding us that Lynch lived right off real Mulholland Drive. A real place, is that right? 3 houses. 3 houses near Mulholland Drive, all next to each other. Armando. Thanks for that. R.I.P. David Lynch. Davina, I remember websites trying to explain it. God, there are probably like endless, was it subreddits about it, aren't there? I'm sure. LA is the city of angels, not the city of dreams. LOL. Film classes have studied it. And Hollywood is the dream factory, says Davina. John N. Bittersweet talking about Mulholland Drive because of, yes, the recent devastating fires. Please stay safe and well, friends. And yeah, shout out to all my friends in America, the people I know over there. I hope you're okay. I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. I hope you're not suffering from it. Oh my goodness. I'd love to go into more detail on all of them. But we have one more, folks. The last one. Mrs. Wakizashi will be glad to hear that in the background. She's probably thinking, when are you finishing this, Gray? What happened to going for an hour? You madman. And ironically, it's part of what killed him. Yes, Sir John, it's no lie. And he knew that. He was a huge smoker all his life. He kind of makes smoking look cool, doesn't he? The same as Ridley Scott did in Blade Runner, by the way. It's one of the most tempting smoking films I've ever seen in my life, Blade Runner. It just makes you want to start if you haven't ever smoked, and it makes you want to restart if you've quit. But enough about that. YouTube doesn't like talk of smoking. And oh my goodness, before I get into this film, what are you doing? You're balmy, you star. My goodness, that is so generous of you. Thank you so much. How are you doing? He just drops a brief comment. I don't like Lynch. I like Grey. Look at that. Drops a $50. Boom and good night. Unbelievable. Ah, holy shit. I know you've gone, mate, but I don't think I have anything that your Barmy likes here. I think he might like this.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
Drunken in a Virginia fence.
I seen it. You're fond of me lobster.
The ever wonderful Willem Dafoe absolutely rocks. Brilliant. The 80s he did make smoking look cool. Blade Runner, man, what a movie for that. I love Laura Dern, but this was a weak film, John N. Yeah, I agree, mate. We were talking about it before. It was like, for me, it's probably his weakest, but maybe, I've only seen it once, to be fair. I need to go back and rewatch it, reevaluate it, possibly. You can't deny that Laura Dern is fantastic in it. Here we go. Let's finish with this, folks, before we wrap things up. Inland Empire is a 2006 experimental psychological thriller film, written, directed and produced by David Lynch. It was co-produced by Jeremy Alter and Laura Dern. The film's cinematography, editing, score and sound design were also by Lynch, with pieces by a variety of other musicians also featured. Lynch's longtime collaborator and then wife, Mary Sweeney, co-produced this film. The cast includes such Lynch regulars as Laura Dern, Justin Theroux, Harry Dean Stanton, legend, Grace Zabriskie, as well as Jeremy Irons, Karolina Gruska, Peter J. Lucas, Christoph Marzak, Julia Ormond. There are also brief appearances by a host of additional actors, including, listen to this, Natasha Kinski. Cat people, that's all I'm saying. Laura Harring, Terry Crews, Mary Steenburgen and William H. Macy. The voices of Harring, Naomi Watts and Scott Coffey are also included in excerpts from Lynch's 2002 Rabbits online project. The title borrows its name from a metropolitan area in Southern California. Released with the tagline, A Woman in Trouble, the film follows a fragmented and nightmarish event surrounding a Hollywood actress, Laura Dern, who begins to take on the personality of a character she plays in a supposedly cursed film production. An international co-production between the US, France and Poland. Poland? No way. The film was completed over 3 years and shot primarily in Los Angeles and Poland. The process marked several firsts for Lynch. The film was shot without a finished screenplay, instead being largely developed on a scene-by-scene basis. Well, I hate to say it, but I tell you what, it shows, doesn't it? And it was shot entirely in low-resolution digital video by Lynch himself using a handheld Sony camcorder rather than traditional film stock. Inland Empire premiered in Italy at the 63rd Venice International Film Festival on 6th of September 2006. It received generally positive but polarised reviews from critics, with attention centering on its challenging and surrealist elements. It was named the second best film of 2007, tied with two others by Cahiers du Cinéma, and listed among Sight and Sound's 30 best films of the 2000s, as well as The Guardian's 10 most underrated movies of the decade. The film was remastered by Lynch and Janus Films in 2022. It's the final feature film that Lynch directed prior to his sad and untimely death in 2025. It says here a budget of 2.9 to 3 million. It made 4.4 at the box office. Wow. Yeah, as I say, probably my least favourite, but I will give it a rewatch, give it a fair shot, give it a chance. Laura Dern received near universal acclaim for her performance, with many reviews describing it as her finest to date. Lynch attempted to promote Dern's chances of an Academy Award for Best Actress nomination at the 2007 Academy Awards by campaigning with a live cow. I remember this. I remember seeing this on the news or something. Though she was ultimately not even nominated for the award. Good grief. Ridiculous. Okay, we made it, folks. We made it. We got there. Where are we? I've got another fantastic photo to show you. Look at this one. Check this. It's a beauty. Look at that. What a great photo to wrap up the stream on. So good. Yo, Barbie, thanks, man. I miss you too, yo, Barbie. Who's saying I miss you to salty travelling sea? Drunker than ever. Journey fans, says Robert Pattinson, the Batman. Willem Dafoe. He's so good. And there is a tenuous link to Lynch here with Dafoe. That's why I dropped that clip. The Lighthouse. What a movie. Oh my goodness. And he's so good in Platoon. I think that's where he became most well known from, isn't it, that movie, John? Yeah. Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin. Red Lobster, Dwayne. Okay. Wrap things up, folks. Sir John is saying, I'll be honest, I've yet to make it through Inland Empire without falling asleep. I can understand. I may just try again now, though, to honour him. Yeah, it's a good chance. It's a good timing to give it another watch and see if you can make it to the end. Kevin Sonny from Savannah. David Lynch used a real cow to promote Laura Dern on Hollywood Boulevard in LA. Such a weird way to promote a film. Might you call it Lynchian? Absolutely. Great show. Thanks, Davina, and great to see you here. Thanks for dropping in. Really appreciate it. And thanks for your input in the chat. And everybody out there, your chats have been fantastic. Awesome comments. Hello, Mick. I was talking about you earlier, mate. I was saying it was kind of thanks to you yet again for recommending The Elephant Man many, many years ago that I found out about, Lynch. Also, thanks to a certain Dune as well. Dune. Should I say it the English way? British English. Oh, do you like June? How about July? Do it, Salty, says Awesome One. Dafoe was also good in Born on the 4th of July, which was another Oliver Stone Vietnam film. Blair, good night. Thanks so much for watching, guys and girls. It's been great to see you, and thank you for your support. Salty, your Barmy, Fear Monarch, all the members, guys, I really, really appreciate it. Kevin is signing off with, this was an awesome chat. Lots of great info and knowledge gained. Thanks for organising it, and thank you for watching. As I say, just a very small channel, giving a bit of love, expressing a bit of love for Lynch. And rest in peace, and thank goodness we still have all his work to enjoy. Can't wait to start the rewatch. Thanks for the stream. A great way to honour David. Thanks, Sir John. I'm really glad it's you. Dickie Attenborough, fantastic. Fear Monarch, hey, that's me. And on that note, as I say, let's go out. If you missed it earlier on, I'm going to drop the old original intro to the old Grey's Moving Picture House streams that I used to do. Thanks so much for watching. If you watch this far on the replay, I bow down to you. Japanese style. Us, like that. Okay, here we go.